Raiders. We're talking the Raiders. Boy, did nobody have us winning today's game against the Ravens. And what an absolute thriller of a game in the second half. We're not going to sugarcoat it. Okay, we're going to dive right into it. The Raiders play calling with Luke Getsy is absolute trash. It's really bad. There has been a picture circling around about pretty much AP getting into Luke's face like, what are you doing? What is going on here? Why are we not going down the field, passing the ball down the field and doing these little screens? I want you guys to know that those screens to Brock Bowers only works because Brock Bowers is that guy. Brock Bowers, this pick is starting to look really, really good. Really, really good. And I haven't been this excited for a tight end since Zach Miller, and then Darren Waller at some point. But Zach Miller was my guy back in the day on those bad Oakland teams. And Brock Bowers, man, I'm loving this kid. This kid is a playmaker, a difference maker, getting first downs when we needed them. Boy, is he a special player for sure. And hopefully he continues to be healthy and continues to get the rock. And I know defenses are going to go take this guy out of the equation or try to take him out of the equation, especially with a lot of these third downs. But what's great is on the other side, we have Michael Mayer, who did get one reception, I believe, for more than 10 yards. But Michael Mayer is another special guy, and I want to see this guy get the rock too. So we have two great tight ends, and Brock Bowers, of course, is elevated to better than just great. So I'm excited. I'm excited for Brock, and I'm excited for the younger guys, But what I'm not excited is a lot of this play calling, man. This play calling. I get it. The offensive line is really horrendous. Like, they're not clicking. They're not clicking so much that we literally had to sub our guard throughout the game, sub back and forth, because Antonio Pierce doesn't know what's going on with this offensive line, why it's struggling so bad. They're getting manhandled when it comes to the run game. We cannot sustain wins with just passing ability. We don't want that. As a Raider team right now in 2024, we don't want to throw the ball 50 times, 40 times. We want to run the ball. We need Zamir White to get it going. Abdul, Madison, one of these guys. We need the run game to be established. And the problem with these first 2 weeks of Raiders season is that the run game is nowhere. No, it's nowhere. It's nowhere. There is nothing to really hype or be very excited for this run game at all. And that is something we do not need as an organization. We do not need as a team. We do not need going in the long run. You don't go anywhere if you don't have a run game. You don't go anywhere. And relying on Minshew, yes, Minshew did the plays when it counted at the end. Great. Max Crosby. That's what I loved about this game, was the leadership. The leadership that came out and the dog that we had. But instead of past Raider teams where they would fight hard, but then they would lose it by 3, by a touchdown, like a very heartbreaking loss at the end, this team actually came through with the win. That is the difference. And what I love to see is the leadership of Max Crosby. Phenomenal game. Phenomenal game by Max Crosby. All the first half of this game, or just throughout the whole game, that's the Max Crosby I've been hearing on the preseason, where they had to take him out because he was disrupting a lot of the offensive plays. That's the Max Crosby I wanted to see. That's the Max Crosby I wanted to see in week 1. Sure, Max didn't have that bad of a game, but this is where he needs to be going forward every game. And he has the dog in him, the condor, Max was great. So was Jack Jones, making a play that probably, most likely, it goes back in the film room to that play of winning the game. Trayvon, you can see him in a couple plays. Another leadership role that's been, obviously, it's the defense that is the heart of this team, the defense that is keeping us in games. Luckily, the defense had more time to rest because the offense started to click towards the end. That's what we need. That's why we need the run game. We need this defense to rest as much as they can throughout the game. That gives us a better opportunity for these guys to have the head in the game, make plays like Jack Jones did, and Spillane. Spillane is another leader that is, man, we have cats, or we have dogs on this defense that special. It's so special. Spillane, I believe, coming from Pittsburgh in here, but he's a Raider, man. He's such a Raider. He has his team locked down, locked, ready to go, setting them where they need to be. Masterson, I want to give shout out to Masterson. He did a great. I love Masterson as a kid. I love him as a player. I think he does great. But Spillane, man, with that interception, phenomenal awareness, getting the actual interception when a lot of times back in the Raider teams, they would not get that turnover, barely missing it, dropping it, getting the turnovers when it mattered. So the defense, obviously, the just phenomenal defense so far in the first 2 weeks, especially against the Ravens. That was a true test. They stepped up to the test. Another test is going to be going forward, of course, against Kansas City, and then also bouncing back against the Chargers when we face them again. The defense has to remain solid and actually get better, because there is still some holes in the defense. There is what I'm loving is the penalties. The penalties are not coherent, not existent as much as the previous seasons, which I love. That goes for the defense and the offensive side. The penalties are being cleaned up. That's how you get wins like this. As for the defense, they are still allowing some of the big plays. That's going to happen. Defenses all over the NFL are going to allow big plays, but there is some plays that, you wish they could clean up a little bit more. And tackling, still solid, but there is a couple missed tackles. It's kind of hard to tackle, King Henry. So, and it's hard to tackle Lamar, but I think the defensive line just really put some pressure on Lamar, and we all know Lamar is the ending of this game had us all worried because it looked like he could run it all the way to the end zone. Kind of shocked that he didn't try it, but the defense really held him in check, especially Max Crosby. Going into the offense, yes, the run game is abysmal. That needs to be cleaned up. That needs to be fixed. The offensive line needs to come together, need to click. They need to find a way to get this offensive line to push. Antonio Pierce is going to probably in practice test every single man on that offensive line. Minshew didn't have enough time to throw a lot of times. A lot of pressure got to him. But then Minshew, there was a couple times where I saw him in the pocket where he could have actually stepped up. And it makes me wonder, would Aiden have stepped up into the pocket and thrown a dart? I think Aiden is a more accurate thrower. At one point, I did want Aiden O'Connell to come in because I feel like it's just such a different team with Minshew and Aiden. But the talk that Max Crosby gave to Minshew, and Minshew having the cojones to finally throw darts down the line and making plays to Davante Adams. Davante Adams is the key to these Raider victories. If we don't have Davante Adams in today's game, we probably don't win the game. I know we have a lot of talent. Trey Tucker, Brock Bowers, Michael Mayer, Jacoby Myers, one of my favorite wide receivers that we have. But Davante Adams in this game was phenomenal. We don't win this game unless, Adams gets a lot of the touches and gets the touchdown. I will say, Getsy did have a couple great calls, especially the touchdown to Davante Adams. So there was a couple, I didn't mind the screens in the beginning, but having those screens throughout with Brock Bowers I get it. And then also giving the ball to Trey Tucker to try to get the ball to Trey Tucker to have him, and he did get some good yardage at certain points, but Getsy still, it's very shaky, super shaky on the play calling. And Minshew is it's still up in the air with him, but you got to give credit where credit's due. He did pull it off at the very end. The big takeaway from now the offense kind of clicking in the second half and winning the game, the big takeaway from this game is the momentum. Momentum is everything, guys. Why do you think teams who catch fire at the end and they barely make it to the wild card and yet they're able to go far as they can? It's because momentum. Momentum, that dog, that fight, that me against the world mentality, the special groups. I mean, if you want to look at somebody, look at the Giants. Look at Eli Manning, Antonio Pierce. Look at how they had talented roster, but nobody had them winning the whole thing. And I think Antonio Pierce is the best coach that we could have because that is us, basically, where we have so much talent. Offense isn't clicking all the time, but there is something here where it could happen. The NFL has changed a lot since the Eli Manning days of the Super Bowls. I mean, a lot of interference with the refs. You know, you can't really hit the quarterback as much as possible. It's more of a passing league now. You can still have a dominant defense, but you can also still have calls go against that dominant defense with just a ticky-tacky kind of pass interference and such. But momentum is still key. Momentum is still key for the confidence of these guys, especially for Minshew if he's going to continue to be the starting quarterback of the Raiders offense. The offense has to be better at the run game and it has to have a quicker start. We can't have heart attack wins anymore, guys. We can't have heart attack wins. We need dominant performances on each end. The problem is I don't see that happening throughout the whole season. I see close games like this throughout. I see a lot of the games us being behind and having to come back. Whether we are able to successfully come back, it's all going to matter on Minshew and his accuracy, his ability to get out of pocket and really limit the turnovers. You know, he has to be able to clean up his football. Everything is riding on him. Yes, the play calling is garbage, but some of the throws that he threw were very weak. They weren't very strong. They didn't look like a zip-zap kind of pass. You know, they really felt like floaters to me, and it was always scary seeing him throw one. But the talent of his wide receivers is where it's at. That's why I'm like, I don't know. I think Aiden O'Connell has a little bit more stronger throw, but Aiden's not playing. Minshew is playing. The one thing that we count on is his ability to get out of pocket and run, and I didn't necessarily see that in this game. I see him kind of try to stretch it out, but the defenders were getting to him. The Ravens defense was eating him up from in the beginning. So I don't know. I honestly don't know what ability I'm thinking of, or what everybody's thinking of with Minshew on the running ability, but it seems like he is more in pocket, and it seems like that, you know, I love the guy, but is this guy going to be able to do this again? And that's what's great about this win and the momentum, because hopefully his confidence does go up through the roof. Hopefully, you know, we as fans and him himself see his two secure guys to go after, you know, Devontae Adams and Brock Bowers. And hopefully he uses Jakobi Meyers, because Jakobi Meyers is another guy you could rely on. But the run game has to start clicking, guys. The run game has to start clicking, or it's going to be some tough times. But for now, this was a great win. This was a team effort win. This was actually offense having to click at the second half and finally getting it done. This was the defense keeping them in the game, getting the big stops when they had to. This is Carlson hitting the field goals. Fine, you know, not that miss from against the Chargers. This is automatic Carlson that I believe in. So all elements of the game were great. Antonio Pierce running down the clock. The clock management was good. Running down the clock. Also I did like the timeouts and giving his, you know, setting his defense up, because a lot of times our defense is not set up, and, you know, making sure these guys are get some time to breathe at the very end. So I thought Antonio Pierce actually did a really good job managing the whole game. I know a lot of people wanted him to, you know, maybe throw the ball to get the first down to just, you know, end the game. But I think it was a good decision to run the ball, and waste time. Waste time. So you can't do squib kicks anymore. You got to hit them in the end zone. It wasn't a Broncos situation where they should have went for the onside kick. So just phenomenal plays, phenomenal team effort to win this game. I'm super happy. I think Raider Nation's absolutely excited. We beat the Ravens, but guess what? Enjoy your win now. You move on to the next one because the main goal is to make playoffs for this team. Playoffs would do a lot for this organization, for the fans. And then from there, like I always say, you never know. The Raiders are just, nobody wants to face the Raiders in the playoffs. Unless unless that one year where Derek Carr broke his leg, then yeah, they did want to face the Raiders in the playoffs. But you just never know with the Raiders. If they can get into the playoffs, you just never know. They are literally the wild kind of card team. So I am ecstatic. What a good win. I want to thank you guys for listening. If you haven't already, subscribed to the channel, like the video. I want to hear, this is my thoughts on the Raider game, watching it. Very exciting, very frustrating in the beginning, but then it turned around, which was amazing. And that's the kind of fight I want to see for this Raider team this year. So thank you guys. I'm Danny Man. Until we talk more Raider football. I'll see you guys later.